Introducing Tony and Other People, a podcast. Here's your host, Tony Levesque.
Bud Mostyn.
That's me.
Or is it Robert?
Yeah. We can start there.
Yeah.
So still Bud. Yes.
Okay.
I haven't like evolved into another character or anything like that.
That's good.
I use Rob a lot in my like professional, like at work and stuff.
Makes sense.
But the new name that you probably don't know or might have seen online is BC.
Well, I remember your AOL
Oh yeah.
Instant Messenger
yeah.
was BC Likes You.
Correct. And I still use that. Yeah.
I didn't know AOL Instant Messenger.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. You
The
don't
name.
use... Okay. You're still
Yeah.
on MySpace, too, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So MySpace, still using Friendster and all that stuff. So yeah, BC Likes You I use, but BC was a name I got my first year of college. I went to Fredonia. I didn't know anybody there. Nobody knew me. And I walk into the bathroom in my dorm room or my dorm hall the first week, and there's a kid brushing his teeth from my hall, and he goes, and there's somebody in the shower like around the corner in the bathroom, and it's his roommate, and he yells to his roommate, "Hey Andy, guess who just walked in the bathroom?" And I'm like, he's talking about me, and he goes, "It's Brainchild," and I'm like, "Did you just call me Brainchild?" And I'm like, and he's like, yeah, aren't you like 14 and in college already? I'm like, no man, I'm 18. He's like, you look really young. I was like, all right. So he's one of my best friends now. He's one of my closest friends. And Brainchild got shortened to BC. I started to use BC Likes You on AOL. And that's what I use now for all of my social, networking, everything.
That's crazy. I didn't know that's what it stood for.
Yeah. But so then some people, throughout college I was called BC. And it's funny because none of those people knew me as Bud. But then I moved to Rochester, and there were some people who knew me from back here. So they started calling me Bud. So I had people calling me Bud, BC, and Rob, and it was just a mess. So now I just tell everybody, mostly it's Rob at work, and then some people still call me BC.
Yeah.
So, but I'm fine with any of them, really. It doesn't bother me.
Well, we've known each other since...
Oh,
jeez.
Yeah. I don't know what year, but I was like...
Mid-90s.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I think, let's see, I had to start to be around high school, like when I was in 9th grade, which would have been 97 maybe, I think.
Right. And I was a couple years ahead of you, I think.
I think just 1 year ahead
Or
of me,
just
right?
1 year.
Yeah.
Did you graduate with Brandon?
2001.
2001. Okay.
Yeah.
I graduated 2000.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So we hung out a lot. Like
we had art class together.
That's right. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Mrs. McMahon,
who I've been in touch with.
Really?
Yeah, she's doing great. It's awesome. Just on Facebook and stuff. But yeah. Her son lives out in Rochester, so it's always we've been trying to connect.
What is the deal with everyone from around here goes to Rochester?
Is that what's happening? I don't know.
And everyone like I graduated with went to school in Rochester at least. Maybe they didn't end up there, but
it's a pretty popular. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of colleges in that area. Especially with University of Rochester and RIT, two very different schools, but two like pretty prestigious schools. So, but yeah, art class, and then we sat at the same table during lunch a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it was just like, I think you were the person I connected with musically the most. We were listening to a lot of the same music.
Right.
A lot of Incubus.
Our Lady Peace.
A lot of Our Lady Peace.
Green Day.
A lot of Green Day. Still listen to Green Day.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. So it was like we connected on that front. Because South Louis, there wasn't a lot of people listening to that stuff.
Right. I think it was just us and maybe anyone that listened to something other than country or pop was either the Metallica, White Zombie Kids.
Yeah.
Or our table at lunch.
Yeah. There was the Grateful Dead bunch, but I don't know if they I think they just wore the Grateful Dead shirts. And
yeah, I think they just smoked a lot of pot and the shirt went with it.
Yeah.
They got the shirt free with their
right.
bag.
It's your complimentary shirt. Yeah. So I feel like we connected on that, and then we started the band. Well, I don't know, we joined the band.
The very first group, musical group, other than just myself, I was in was with you.
Yeah.
It was you and I.
Yep.
And you played drums, I played guitar.
Yep.
And your dad recorded us in your house.
Did he
remember?
No, I don't remember that. I have to talk to him
we only
about that.
had like 3 songs and they were originals.
Wow, you don't have them anywhere, do you?
I do.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
There's
okay.
a whole story with that. Okay.
Wow, I have completely forgotten about this.
So when you're 16 years old,
Yeah.
right? You think, and you pick up a guitar or a drum set. You think, oh, I'm gonna make it big.
Yeah.
Instantly,
Oh,
you
yeah,
think
of course.
that.
Yeah.
You know, the first song you learn, you're like, I got this. So, we had a couple songs that we wrote, which there was no lyrics. It
Right.
was just instrumental guitar
I
and
remember
drums. And your dad had a whole recording set up in his house, and you had the drum set in your room. And
Yep. I remember that much.
tight quarters. And
Yeah.
anyway, he recorded it and recorded it, I think, on mini disc.
Yes, that's what they used to use. But they could dump to other formats,
Right.
but it didn't. Their mixing boards didn't have a hard drive or anything,
Right.
And this was before computers were more popular with recording. So yeah, the storage was mini discs.
Right.
Yeah.
And your dad burned me a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, made me a cassette tape. And
Yep.
I remember looking at the cassette tape like, wow,
Yeah.
that's an expensive one.
Yeah.
You know? And
had like gold flake, like the gold logo around it or whatever.
so I listened to the crap out of that thing in
Wow,
my
okay.
1990 Ford Tempo.
Yep, I remember that.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, Kelvin painted on the hood.
Yep.
Kelvin and Hobbs.
Yep.
Yeah. I listened to that tape forever. Just love it. I'm so proud of it.
Yeah.
And one day I gave it to my dad and I said, listen, hold on to this tape because it's going to be worth a lot of money someday. Keep in mind, I'm 16, you're 15.
Yeah, stars in your eyes, yeah.
Yep. I said, just put it away and do not let me ever take it. Just keep it.
Yeah.
And I think I signed it or something.
Were you afraid that you were going to lose it? Like, is that what?
No, I wanted like security for my parents.
Oh, okay.
So my dad stashed it away somewhere, and I still to this day don't know where.
Right.
But I have asked him a couple times in my adult years. I would say maybe 5 years ago, so like 30 years old. Dad, let me listen to that tape.
Yeah.
Nope. I promised, and I still hold out hope for you. So someday, I'll be able to listen to that tape again and either say, oh, we were onto something, or
I would love to hear that.
Hell,
yeah, oh yeah, one or the other, right?
I'm gonna beg my dad this weekend, and I will get you a copy of that.
Please, dude. Because I thought we went, and I might be jumping ahead a little here. I thought we went right into Premium Blend.
No,
like that's what I thought happened, but now. Did you play? You had
wasn't
like a red
very
guitar. You had like a red guitar. Was it a
I had
Kramer?
a Martin.
A Martin. Oh man, yeah.
And it had the cutout below the neck.
Yes. Okay.
No, it wasn't a Martin. It was an Alvarez.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
Missing the back plate on it. I got it used at Dr. Guitar, but it was the coolest looking freaking guitar you'd ever see in your life. Really short neck on it.
Yep.
And I had no clue how to play it.
Right. I mean, we were all figuring it out, right? Oh wow.
Used to wear a cowboy hat.
Oh,
play the drums.
There's that photo from the one Premium Blend thing, and I look back at that, and I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, I had no reason to wear a cowboy. I know what it was actually. Do you remember the band Big Wreck?
Yeah.
The drummer in that band always wore a cowboy hat, and I'm like, that's me.
Yep.
I'm him.
Spiked hair in school. Cowboy hat behind the drums.
Nobody saw it coming.
So there's a picture I have. Maybe I can dig it up before you leave here.
Yeah.
Get you a copy of you and your cousin Pat.
Yep.
And myself in your room playing.
Right.
And I even remember what song it was.
Wow.
It was Faith by Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
And
I remember playing that a lot.
I just remember the look on my face. But the three of us rocking out as hard as we could.
Yep.
And so I think it went from you and I recorded that.
Right.
And we were like, we got to get other people in on this. So Billy and Bobby, I think, came over. One of them.
I think at least one of them came over and jammed with us, and Pat as well, who was around that time getting into playing a lot.
Mm-hmm. He was. I remember. What song? Tomorrow, by Silverchair.
Oh, he was a huge Silverchair fan. He loved Silverchair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then I remember what happened was the split. Like this is here's the behind the music band drama. Like it was me, you, and Pat went with Premium Blend, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Billy and Bobby started. What were they called? They had AJ on drums.
Twitch.
That's right. Yes.
Yep.
Wow.
Remember they played the Planet in Boonville. Remember the Planet?
No, I don't.
It was just as you get into town, take a right in Boonville.
Oh yeah.
And there was a little like kids rec center type of thing. No alcohol, just a bunch of teenage kids and bands.
Yep. Wow.
Wait, didn't we do the talent show at South Louis?
That's what we did. That was the big one because that was where
it was a big show.
That was where, I mean, there were 6 of us in the band.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so let's name them off there.
Yeah.
Fred Marriott,
Who sang?
Tom Monks,
Who played guitar, like lead guitar.
Yep. Well, there was always the fight between him and Pat.
Right. And that show was the last straw.
Yeah. Because what was it? We played "What If" by Creed.
Oh yeah.
And they were fighting over who got to do the one little riff on the guitar.
Yeah. And you played keyboard. You switched over to keyboard.
Right. Which I was horrible at. Had no idea what I was doing.
but it was like
it was band.
Awesome. Yeah. And then Curtis Foote
played bass.
Yeah. And that was a lot of fun. And what was funny was, we played on the stage, and in front of the stage, like most auditoriums, is a pit for pit band. But
it was raised up.
It was raised up. But I mean, they just had to cover up where the pit band goes. Is they just had the cover, that board, and people started like jumping around and jumping on that, and like the principal started to get upset and was like, "You guys need to stop," because they was like bowing and stuff. Yeah.
Well, to go back even further, the whole talent show was a typical talent show you see at high school. I picture like clog dancing and
There's interpretive dance, I remember.
Well, I guess the cat just wanted to come in.
Really like me.
Yeah. So very bland high school talent show.
Yeah.
And I think we did a Rage Against the Machine
song
or something.
We did Guerrilla Radio.
Yeah.
We did Guerrilla Radio.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this had to
Which
be
was
like
a great song. I still love that song.
98, 99 maybe?
I'm going to lean closer to 99, but yeah, around there. Yeah.
So a full auditorium of, half kids, half adults, and just sitting in their seats.
Yep.
And we started into something. Was it Come Out and Play by The Offspring?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, because that was like immediately recognizable, like from the start.
First of all, Twitch was just before us, and they did Blur Song 2.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, they nailed it.
Yeah.
And, the crowd got into it. It was really cool.
Yeah.
For an auditorium full of your peers,
in like upstate, like New York. Like I don't ever remember seeing a band at a talent show before that. Like, it was like kind of fun and a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, this is the place where you go and sit through assemblies and, awards. And to watch them, and we're like, man, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Then we go to set up. I wore a pink bunny suit.
Yep.
That's right. Now it's coming back.
It's all coming
So I was more for comic relief than actual musical.
Well, because the one song, which one was it, where you're like, I don't really have a great part for this. And you're like, I'm just going to jump around. And like, essentially you were hyping people up.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Oh, yeah. Johnny Markham's, I think, grandmother had a costume shop, and I got the pink bunny suit.
Wow, jeez. That's great. That's so funny.
It's insane that I can remember things like that, but not,
like
things I need for work every day.
Yeah, or like, oh, wait, I'm supposed to buy milk later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That was like a lot of fun.
Well, the cool part was, Twitch did really great. So that was Brooks Bartlett.
Playing drums.
No, was he playing drums or singing?
Oh,
he
Brooks,
ended up singing.
AJ was
played drums.
Yep.
And Philip Ryder.
Philip Ryder, wow. There's somebody I haven't heard of in a while.
He was playing guitar. And Billy and Bobby.
And Billy, the twins, yeah.
Yep.
My cousins.
Perkins.
Yeah. Yep.
Who Billy is been in a million hardcore projects, and Bobby played with Wagner's Agenda for years. Now he's down in Nashville playing guitar.
Yeah, I think it seems like he's doing a lot of like stand-in. I think is that what he's doing?
I think he's just playing constantly, and jumping up with everyone, and
killing it. It seems like he got the sense of like, he's always been a great player, but now he has that, like, he knows how to talk to people and be like, what do you need? And he can work in any band,
And he's got such an addictive personality.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. You'd love to have him around.
He's always excited.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So, they got done, and we thought, wow, this was awesome. And we got up there, and it seemed like once we kicked into the song, I think it was Come Out and Play, because it's a drum part starting.
Starts with the hi-hat drum part, yeah.
And once everything kicked in, it was like the whole auditorium rushed the stage.
Yep.
And to this day, I'm still getting chills now.
Yeah.
That was like my best moment on stage, was that that's how...
Yeah.
That's why I'm still playing music however many years later, which I'm sure you as well.
Yeah, chasing that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just all these kids that, you know, we were kind of outcasts in high school. We didn't have a lot of friends. It was our table, you know.
I wouldn't say we were like
bottom of the pile.
Yeah, but we just kind of either
kept
like
to ourselves.
I floated between a lot of groups. Like I kind of was like acquaintances with a lot of people.
You were in the outdoor education kids.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, I was really tight with like Wade, who was for, I mean, all intents and purposes, kind of a jock. Like he played sports every season, but he hung out with us.
Like one though.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But like, you know, through him, I would talk to those people, but then we had the band, and it was like to see all those people who like barely talked to us just like rush the stage.
Yeah, and then to watch the pit cover just flowing. Yeah, and
somebody crowd surfed.
Somebody crowd surfed.
Jason Austin.
Jason Austin,
wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh my God, we're gonna.
Who was a big dude, like a tall guy at the time. You know,
that guy was wild.
Yeah,
I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to tag all of these people in this podcast, or they're gonna hear about it years later.
Yeah, very true.
And oh man, we did 3 songs. I think we were allowed 3 songs.
The principal was giving us the cutoff at the end. Yeah,
and we started into it was a Godsmack song. I remember.
Was it? Of course it was.
Bad.
The one that's just the open D chord.
Yeah, through the whole song. Because I remember I picked up a guitar for that. I had that Elvarez.
That's right.
Because I could play that when it was one note the whole
just
song.
one open chord.
Yeah. Yep. Drop D.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I just saw that pit cover bouncing.
Yeah.
And I remember running to the front of the stage and slapping all the hands.
Yeah, you were all over the place. It was awesome.
I've never been so wound up in my life. Well, we were, 15, 16, 17 years old, something like that.
Just amped to play. I mean, that was my first, like, performance.
Yeah.
Well, I take that back. No, maybe that was after. Yeah, no, that was my first one. That was my first one with that band, too. Yeah, it's crazy. Because we played Fred's younger brother's graduation party, but I think that was over the summer.
That was the Moose River Fishing Game Club.
Yeah, that was over the summer.
I've played there since.
Yeah, really?
Recently. Yeah, wow. Within maybe a year ago.
So they still have shows there? They still have people play there?
Jack and Jill parties.
Wow, okay, awesome.
It's still just as redneck and fun. I love it.
It was great. It's the first time I drank.
Really? Yeah.
I think it was, I forgot who gave me like Jello shots, and I was like, all right, down the hatch.
Matt Garnsey come up and sang a few songs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's up in Rochester now, too.
Yeah, I see that.
He's the older one, right?
Yes.
Rob's the younger run. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, then the superintendent come up when we played one more song, because everyone was yelling one more song, which is the first time I heard that.
Yeah, and we were just like right into it. We were like, all right.
Blowing our minds.
Yeah, we had it ready.
We were in the paper, remember?
Yeah,
the Adirondack Mountain Sun, which no longer exists.
I think I still have that photo somewhere, and that's me wearing the cowboy hat.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you used to be able to get the Adirondack Mountain Sun at the Marriott's video place in Lions Falls.
Right.
What the hell was the name of that?
Oh, it was a florist, wasn't it? It was like some florist.
Port Florist.
Yep.
And the same building had a car wash and a laundromat.
Yep. And then Fred...
You could rent Nintendo games from there. And whole consoles.
Yep.
You could rent a whole Nintendo console.
That's a time that's gone by.
Yeah.
Fred's... they had a little apartment behind that, and that's where he like lived for a while.
No, that was down behind the IGA, or the old Victory store in Lions Falls, down in town. The Port Florist is right when you come into Lions Falls by the Stewarts.
Okay.
Across from where Dollar General is now.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Down behind, if you went down the loop in Lions Falls.
Yep.
Yeah, he had this little bachelor pad.
Yeah.
Fred was a couple years older than us.
Yeah, he was a little older, and
shaved his chest.
I forgot about that. Oh, that's funny.
Oh, good times.
Yeah.
So the superintendent tried to, I think he unplugged. Cat, what are you doing?
Doing some percussion,
I guess. I think he unplugged my amp.
Yeah,
and started going around. We're like, okay, we're done.
Yeah. It was like,
but that made us even cooler.
Oh yeah, it was the classic. Like it was, like I'm like, oh, this is just like the movies where like the old guy's like enough and like just unplugging things.
the beginning of a Twisted Sister music video or something.
We're like, all right, let's stop. We're not going to be jerks about it.
And doesn't it seem like our short-lived fame lasts about a week?
Oh yeah,
and then
absolutely.
we're back to everyone's ignoring us.
Yep,
in high school.
Nobody remembers. Yeah, and that's that's to be expected, I guess. Whatever.
But I don't know about your path in life, but I think that helped shape mine. Like, I'm doing this from now on.
Yeah, and this is funny. It's something I talked with ex-bandmate recently. We sat down, this is a couple years ago, and talked about like what's our favorite part of being in bands and playing music. He's like name your top 5 things. And my first one is playing like live shows. And he's like, it's funny because he's like, that's not even in my top 5. He's
really?
like, I love being in the studio and experimenting. And I'm like, I write music, I learn music just to play it out. Like I want to go play out. And that, it started with that, right? It was that taste of like, here's what it's gonna be like.
Yeah. You can still screw up.
Yeah.
Ladies will like you.
Yeah. People will pay attention to you for 30 minutes and then they'll forget about you.
They'll forget how short you are behind the drums.
Right? Yeah, it's true. It's true. Although I'm playing guitar now, so I'm up front, and it's very obvious.
Well, it's okay when you're up on a stage or raised up any amount.
That's true.
But when you're on the floor level, people, there's no illusion.
They know right away. Yeah, you're on their level.
So now that we've reminisced about the high school years, the good old days, what have you been up to?
A lot these days. It seems like more and more as time goes on. So I'm still playing music. I'm writing new stuff currently. I did a bunch of solo stuff a couple years back, and I still play it out every now and then. But I'm working on some new stuff. Still playing in bands. Not right at the moment, but it's like an ongoing thing. There's always like somebody be like, "Hey, come jam with us." Playing a lot of guitar. I picked up guitar maybe 10 years ago, and like I was playing before that, but I started playing guitar in bands maybe 10 years ago. So I've been doing a lot of that, a little bit of drums here and there. So yeah, music definitely still a thing. But a couple years ago I started making my own video game, and that's been a big part of my life lately.
That's awesome. I know you've always been huge into video games.
Oh yeah, that was always my thing. Like big gamer. All
about the characters.
Oh in high school especially. It kind of like when I went to college, I kind of like toned it down a bit because I was like, ugh. And it was before gaming was as popular as it is.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I don't want nobody, kind of closeted about it. But then I want to say like maybe 10 years ago, I got really sick. My wife, who's my girlfriend at the time, was out of town, and I was just in bed, and I picked up my like Nintendo DS and like played an old Zelda game and was like, you know what? I really like this, and I'm just going to start talking about it.
Who cares?
Who cares what people think? No, but so like 3 years ago, I decided to try and make my own video game. I was freelancing, writing music for video games at the time, some local indie games. And I talked to one of the developers whose music I was writing for his video game. And I was like, hey, can you kind of like show me the ropes? And it kind of just blew up from there. So yeah, I published my video game back in December on Steam. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Steam. It's
not really.
So it's the iTunes of PC games, of computer games. You buy them digitally. It's a little cheaper that way. There's a huge storefront. So it's nice. You publish on there and you get access to a huge crowd. So it was nice because I made the money back that I spent on it plus some.
That's always nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe didn't make the money back regarding the time I spent on it.
You never do.
Yeah, because I spent like over 2 years.
You gotta
making this
love
game.
what you do.
Oh yeah, exactly. It was a project on the weekends. I'd go to a coffee shop, put headphones on, listen to some music, and just like code.
Yep.
But what's great about that, excuse me, is I started, I sat down with the developer buddy and was like, we were talking and we just, 3 hours go by and we had talked about just game development and coding and art and all the parts of it. And I was like, this was super beneficial just to sit down and have this conversation. And I'm like, let's do this again in a month. And he's like, well, make a Facebook event. We'll invite some people we know who also do this type of stuff. And from there, that snowballed into like a monthly meetup of local video game developers in Rochester that I was apparently leading. The guy
awesome.
who barely knows anything about it. But I did know some about like community organization. I had helped run a monthly concert series for a couple of years, stuff like that. I'd worked in the community, so like I knew how to like organize people and get people together. So that turned into a group called Rock Game Dev. Rock being Rochester. It's kind of a short acronym people use, ROC. And that just snowballed, and my name kind of got out there, and RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology, got wind of me and said, hey, we got this job if you want it, you should at least apply for it.
That's incredible.
For somebody who like basically kind of organizes the community, talks about the industry, the game development industry in Rochester, because we have some video game studios out there. And that's where my life is now, video games, music.
Get off of there. Come on.
Cat's getting really
Keep
into
talking. I'm going to shut this door.
Yeah, absolutely. So it just kind of erupted from there. And, the music's still a big part of it. I think the music's like what kind of kicked it all off. Because I was writing music for video games, which was a big and important part of everything.
So like digitally or
okay, so
explain that a little bit.
Absolutely, because this is a bit of a topic. So back in 2009 2010, I met up with a friend who I'd went to college with, who moved back to Rochester, and he got into a music genre called chiptune. You ever heard of this?
Well, through you.
Okay.
Yeah, because everything. Here's the thing. I want to take a break here with it. When people put stuff out on social media, you never realize who looks at it, who listens to it.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can a little bit now. You can track it a little bit better. But I listen to everything that you put out
thanks,
there.
Man. That's awesome.
Whether I commented on it or not. So now I always try to leave a comment. Hey, I listened. This is great.
Right.
To anybody.
Because typically you just see numbers like views or listens.
Right.
And
you
like,
don't know who. You don't know what they thought of it.
Right.
It's the world we live in now. But anyway, I'm sorry for
the comments are what that's the feedback.
It helps.
Well, thanks. That's awesome. I appreciate that. But chiptune is essentially like making music with old video game systems, things that weren't instruments. Right. So people hack Nintendos, they hack Game Boys. And the reason is because, especially Nintendos and Game Boys, on the motherboards of those are an actual synthesizer chip. Like, something you would find in an old keyboard or an old synthesizer.
Old Casios.
Exactly. And, they're not emulating music, or they're not playing an MP3. So when you were playing an old Game Boy game, it was reading code to play the music.
Right.
So when you write stuff on it, it's like, it's the same argument of like tube versus solid state. Like, this is like authentic, like it's actually making the sounds. It's not emulating them or anything. Or tube versus digital or whatever argument you want to pick. So I started writing music on Game Boys, and what it looks like is, you use a Game Boy, you do it all on the Game Boy. You're not using a piano or anything plugged into it. You have this special Game Boy cart that has a little USB jack on it. So you plug it into your computer, and it acts just like a USB stick, like a USB drive. And
wouldn't this have blown our minds when Game Boy came out? Like
my God.
the amount of hacks that you could do for the old Dreamcast.
Oh yeah,
burn your own CDs and boot discs.
Yeah,
to know that it's gonna go like this.
Like if I had discovered, if this was around when I was like 13, 14 compared to when I was in my late 20s,
you'd have never left your room.
No, I would have written so much. I would have had so much time to write music. You know, like I was at this time I was like working and everything. There's a program called Little Sound DJ, LSDJ is what we call it, and it runs right on the Game Boy screen, and you're essentially hitting button combinations to add in things, and it's I don't know if you've done any like digital music writing, how it usually goes left to right, like a piano roll. Mm-hmm. This goes vertical. It's a track. It's called a tracker. But you're plugging in notes, A sharps, B flats, all that good stuff. I started writing on that and just loved it. It's fun and it's super, super minimal. So it was like, it's easy not to get carried away with effects because you don't have a lot.
Right.
So I started writing a bunch of music that way. I was in a band called Revengineers. We wrote music on the Nintendo and then had a full band around it.
Right.
2 guitars, bass, and drums.
I really enjoyed that.
Thanks. It was all instrumental.
Yep.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. That was a really, really fun band. So yeah, I got into that, and me and Nick, the guy who kind of taught me how to do this and kind of like introduced me to it, he's like, hey, let's start booking chiptune bands, because there's a lot of them in New York City and Boston, the bigger cities. He's like, let's do a monthly show, at the local venue and just get people into it, because there's like RIT is like a huge nerd school. Like if you are any sort of nerd, you go to that school and you're gonna find your people.
Yeah.
And we started booking these shows, and like the RIT kids just went nuts for them, and it was awesome. So that kind of became a thing, and I became known as one of the people who was doing this. So when people started making their own video games, they're like, we want this guy to make the authentic sounding music for our game, but it's original music. So that's kind of how like that progressed into the video game side of things. But after like I think 3 years of booking those shows, we did 2 festivals at RIT. We kind of handed it off.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but like every month, I was doing a lot of the posters. I was a graphic designer at the time, doing a lot of the posters, a lot of the online graphics and stuff. It was a lot of work. And Nick was the one booking everything, and it's a ton of work to book a show every month, and promote it and get people to come out. But it was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Especially for a genre of music that's
right,
very specific.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Super, super niche. And like, we got people who, like, I played a show, and the way I played with this is I had 2 Game Boys. You could sync them up because you used to be able to play against people with that cable.
Yeah.
What's neat is you can sync up 2 of them and have them play at the same time and sync with each other. So you can get like a bigger sound. So I would play on that, and that would be like my backing music and my drums. And then I played guitar over it, and then I use a vocoder.
Yeah.
And so the Game Boy would be sending some music to a vocoder, which would mix my voice and that sound. And I compare it to autotune, but it's even easier. You don't even have to sing anywhere in key. It adjusts the pitch for you.
That's awesome.
So it's a lot of fun. But I would have people come up and be like, "Dude, this is so cool. What music is your game, or what game is your music from?" And I'm like, "No, I wrote it." And they're like, "Okay, but like what game did you sample?" I'm like, no. I like, it's all written by me. And they're like, "Yeah, okay, but what game?" It's just like this
River City Ransom.
Yeah. Whatever. It's But it was a lot of fun, and I still do that from time to time. My new stuff isn't as, I guess, like pure chiptune sound like that. It's a little more electronic. It's still pretty, like, it's very high energy music. I like writing high energy pop music, pop punk in a way, for lack of a better term. But it's, I don't know, it's a lot of fun.
Isn't it
fun
cool
stuff.
to go back and listen to past recordings?
Oh yeah.
And it puts you right back where you were in that time of
immediately.
your life.
Immediately.
And that's what I liked about the chiptune stuff, is just that sound
Yeah.
is so nostalgic.
Huge.
So many hours I spent on my Nintendo at home,
Right.
brought me right back to the good old days, childhood, no worries.
Yep. Just playing
And
games.
that's probably what the pull is to that genre, is it's, it just
just
brings
like
you back
similar
there.
sounds. And it's interesting because you would start to see young kids now, like 18-year-olds writing chiptune music, and I'm like, they didn't have Nintendos, so what's the, and I've talked to a few people, and a lot of people, it's the nostalgia of it. Some people are like, I just really like how this sounds, like this sounds cool to me, and I'm like, I kind of find myself more in the nostalgia thing, but also like, I just like how this sounds. It's just really neat. Immediately sounds good to me, and maybe that's because I grew up with it and I loved it as a kid. But yeah, it is. Sometimes I'll be writing on it, and I'll get like a sound, or I'll get like a sort of an effect, and I'm like, oh, this sounds like a game I know. Like, what game does this sound like? They did this in a game, and like I'm trying to find that. So it's this other weird. I know you can relate to, like, you have a melody in your head and you're trying to find it, like try to get it out.
It sounds like something.
Yeah.
'Cause everything's been done.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's a lot of that, and it's always fun and interesting. It's also fun just to sit there with a Game Boy in your hand and be like, oh, I'm writing music. I'm
Yeah.
not playing games.
Again, picture yourself at 13 with a Game Boy going, someday I'm going to write music.
Right. It's nuts.
Yeah, my daughter's 4, and she can tell you where all the whistles are on Mario
awesome.
3.
Good knowledge to have.
Yeah.
Good knowledge to have. If you
That'll
want
be very useful in life.
Yeah.
I mean, I still use that knowledge to this day.
Right.
That I learned in
Well, if somebody,
in the 80s.
comes in the house and is like, speed run Mario, and you're like, I got it.
Gun to your head.
Yeah.
You get that whistle.
10 minutes.
You need both of them.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. So that's been a big part of it, and it's all started with music for me. I mean, I'm doing the video game thing now pretty heavily, but like I arrived there through music. That's what I've been doing the longest. And it's still a big part of it. I'm helping some students at RIT with a big project that's going to be published on Xbox at some point, and I'm doing sound effects, helping them out with sound effects for that, which is not my greatest wheelhouse, but I'm like kind of figuring it out as I go along.
What I've learned in life is the more time you can spend, whether it's at work or at home, the more time you spend doing what you absolutely love.
Yeah.
Your life is just way better.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you got to have a part-time job doing crap just to get by,
Right.
and you spend the rest of your time doing what you love,
right.
you're going to have a good life.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you can be lucky enough like we are to find a job that is doing what you love to do.
Right.
You got it made.
It makes waking up easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And you got a love in your life. You've recently been married about
2014. 2014.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, so a couple years now.
Time just flies.
Yeah.
Once you cross that 30 line.
Yeah. Somebody asked me my age the other day, and I'm like, 30, 35? 35, yeah.
That's how you can tell you're old.
Yeah, it's really true.
Once I hit 30, I got fat. And it's twice as hard.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 times as hard to get rid of it after 30.
Right. Yeah.
Before it'd be like, I'm just not going to eat burgers for a week.
Yeah.
Back
there we
down
go.
to
Stop
Slim
drinking
Tony.
for 2 weeks, and you're back to normal. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's crazy. I'm trying to get back.
Nah, you're skinny as shit.
I'm still am. Yeah. I lucked out in that department.
It's still 80-pound.
Yeah. The wind blows.
School.
The wind blows really hard, and
You don't have the spiked hair anymore.
No
but
spiked hair.
No.
Growing it out right now. Trying to do that type of thing. I'm in my mid 30s. I still got a full head of hair. I'm like, let it go.
Yeah.
Just let it grow out and see what happens.
I grew my hair out. It was
used to have
long.
long hair, yeah.
Down past my shoulders the last time.
Yeah.
And as I'm brushing it, I know, my widow's peak is,
Yeah.
the peninsula is turning into Florida up there. Will eventually be
I feel like you can rock
the
that,
Keys,
Some people really rock that well, though.
Right.
That's the thing.
So I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy with the long hair and the bald, trying to relive my glory.
Yeah.
So I cut it.
Yeah.
And then when I cut it, I'm like, it's not that bad.
No, man.
What did I do?
Yeah. What have I done?
But I save at least 5 minutes in my shower every day
That's
now.
true.
With
I'm noticing that.
Don't use conditioner anymore.
Yep. I'm noticed that's starting to happen to me now. I wake up and I'm like, I got to do something about this.
Yeah.
Like before, it was just like I push it to one side and I'm good.
Yep.
Not anymore.
Now there's a little more work to it.
Yeah.
And I have one side that always knots.
Oh, really?
So when I brush it, even like as short as it is now.
Yeah.
And I don't sleep on that side. I constantly toss and turn, so I can't attribute that to
figure out what's
I sleep
doing it.
on that side, so it's all knotted up. But
maybe the cats are like licking it while you're sleeping.
That very well could be.
That's what
Those
cats
assholes.
do, man. No, I've been married for a couple years now. Wife's name is Greta.
Mm-hmm.
She grew up in Rochester. We were friends for a good 2 years. So I moved out to Rochester from Fredonia, where I went to college.
Mm-hmm.
I moved there in 2007. So almost 11 years ago now. And I met Greta through AmeriCorps. I did AmeriCorps for 2 years out there, doing a lot of like volunteer work in the city with kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we were friends for a good 2 years. And it was funny because my sister moved to Rochester for a while. And she met Greta, and she was like, one day she's like, "Why aren't you dating Greta?" And I'm like, "Excuse you?" I'm like, "Oh, she's out of my league. I could never date someone like her." And my sister's like, "Don't be an idiot," And I'm like, "Okay." Just that sibling bond that she just like knew what she was talking about. so yeah, we started dating after that and been together since 2009 now. So
And you guys seem to do everything together.
yeah,
so
we do
at
a
least
lot.
on social media. I mean,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I don't think I've seen you in
in person
18 years, maybe.
Yeah, since high school.
I think I ran into you at a gas station at Stewart's in Lions Falls once. You were getting gas,
Possibly, yeah.
and I waved.
What,
And
did I wave back?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
And that was the most. That was the only time I've physically seen you.
Yeah.
Since high school.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, absolutely. That sounds about right. Like, it's funny. I come back here a couple times a year to see my parents and stuff, but I, for whatever reason, just like don't run into anybody or
Yeah.
just don't make plans or like I've seen like my best friend through most of school, Wade Newman. I saw him. I think in 2004 was the last time I saw him.
Yeah.
And then since then, yeah. And it's not like it's not like I'm like, well, screw him, he's not my friend anymore. It's just like you're like things happen, life happens,
And life
yeah.
constantly gets busier and busier.
Oh yeah.
When you're counting the hours in your day, trying to figure out when you can fit in,
Right,
going
exactly.
to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, totally. Or it's like,
you always think life's gonna slow. Oh,
No.
this summer I'll get all this stuff. Nope.
nope, that's not how it works. And especially as you start to do more,
That cat loves you.
and people, I'm totally fine with it. As you do more too, people get to know you as somebody who does stuff, and they're like, oh, that person does things and finishes them, and they're like,
Yeah.
let's get them to do things, or let's work with them on things. And that's where all your time goes.
Yeah.
And and I mean, I don't even have kids yet. I can't imagine what it's gonna be like then. How do you manage that?
I don't know. The first couple years are just, you have so much time that you
Yeah.
have to put it. I mean, you have to do everything.
Yeah.
For a kid for
Oh yeah.
the first
completely
couple
helpless.
years. I mean, I
Yeah.
never thought I'd wipe someone's ass so much. You know what I mean?
Was
when
this part of it?
when she started, going to the bathroom by herself, the whole shebang, like
Yeah.
washing her hands
Yeah.
and everything,
Yeah.
I never felt so much joy in my life.
That's
Like,
so funny.
Wow, that is one less ass I have to wipe.
Right. Yeah.
But
That's so funny. That's so.
but nobody would do it if there weren't
Exactly.
just so many moments
Oh,
of,
yeah.
oh my God, this is
Yeah.
the best
Yeah.
thing ever.
Yeah.
Probably half of the moments I've had in my life that were the best moments were because of her.
Oh, yeah.
So
And I imagine they have to hit you out of nowhere. Like they just say something, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
and they
Like,
have no
yeah.
idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it makes me wonder back to
Yeah.
my childhood, like the moments my parents
Right.
had where I just, oh, whatever, Mom. Why is
Yeah.
Mom crying?
yeah.
Because she's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
What did I
right
do?
now."
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had those moments and just, you got to soak them in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But even without a kid, you can still, I'm sure you still have moments like that with your wife. That
Oh
you're like,
yeah.
I
Oh,
want
yeah.
this in my memory forever.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, this feeling, this moment.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, there's that stuff always. She's funny because I'm usually the one acting like like an asshole to make her laugh and just like acting like a dummy and stuff. And then every now and then she will just either call me out or like I'll be trying to make a joke to like make fun of her or something, and she'll just like turn it on me in such a like almost like knocks me down, and I'm just like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Like that was so awesome what you just did. Like like props to you. Yeah, that that stuff always happens. It's always a lot of fun. Yeah. So we were talking about this before we started. She didn't come up with me this weekend. She was here last weekend because she grew up in Rochester, but she went to camp up at Unirondack, which is
Oh,
literally
yeah.
10, 20
That's where all the weirdos go.
Yes. No, it really is. It really
Sorry,
is.
Greta.
It's funny. She was up there and she's like, yeah, we pulled in and it's a work weekend. It's where like all of the past campers go and like help clean up for the incoming crew. She's like, we pulled up and there were 7 Priuses,
Yeah.
like 10 Honda Fits, and she's like, ugh, it's our crew.
They're all the hippies
Hippie-
that don't smoke dope.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
It's very true.
And like when you go to a music festival, no
Yep.
thanks, man.
Yeah.
They're those guys.
Totally true. Yeah. No, so she was up there with a friend of hers for that weekend because it was just that last weekend. So then she didn't want to come down this weekend again, just to not double up on the travel.
Yeah.
But
It's got to be, what, 4.5 hours?
it's closer to 3.5.
Oh,
3.5.
okay.
It's not too bad.
I haven't been out that way in a long time.
Yeah. No, it's not too bad. But it was nice. She got to stop by and see my parents. It's 10 minutes. It's crazy because when we were first starting to date, she's like, oh, I went to camp every summer up in Adirondack off number 4. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, that's right by my house.
That's weird.
So, yeah. So we always go there. It's nice to hit that.
Do you ever
up.
wonder if you met her?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder. Well, what's funny is she was like super street punk in her teens, like shaved sides of the head, like
you'd have been all into that.
I know. Well, I told her, I'm like, she had like a 2 foot, pink mohawk when she was 16, and like I have photos of it, and it's so funny. And I'm like, yeah,
there's me in the background.
Yeah. That's what I said. I'm like, yeah. She's like, would you have talked to me? I'm like, no, I would have stared from a distance and been too afraid to say anything. Like, oh, I don't know. She won't. She'll laugh at me or something. My cowboy
Probably
hat
doesn't even like Our Lady anyway.
She did listen to Incubus. So that's
awesome.
Something. We'll listen to that every now and then.
My wife is 9 years younger than me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And we apparently were at Happy Hollow campgrounds around the same time.
Okay.
I do not remember her, and I don't think that we ever met.
Right.
And I think that would have been weird.
If
Because
you
9 years
that.
younger, because I didn't meet her till I was in my late 20s.
Right.
But
yeah. If
weird
you
to think about.
If you had met and remembered, you would have been like,
this changes things a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Time just flies by.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's people always say, "Oh, it gets faster as you get older," and it really does.
It does.
And it's weird how it is. It's not. I don't want to say it's a bad thing. It's just what it is. It's just like how it is. And it makes you a little more like, I just finished watching The Office again.
For like the
10th
time.
I did. I think it was the 3rd time. Greta and I watched
really?
it again.
Okay.
Yeah. I watched it by myself once. We watched it together when we first started dating, and now again. And one of the last things Andy says is, I wish people had told me the good old times were happening when you're in them, or something like that. I'm kind of paraphrasing, and I'm like, yeah, that's what getting older is like. Like you're having good times right now. You gotta like enjoy it, and not like take it for granted. So it's always a part of it. That's like one of my favorite parts from that show.
It's an amazing show.
Oh, it's so good.
I dare say I've seen the whole thing in its entirety. At least I'm gonna go minimal 5 times.
Yeah,
all the way through.
It's so good,
all by myself.
Yeah.
I think Heather watched it with me all the way through.
Yeah.
And sitting reading a book as I watch it.
Yeah.
Forever. But
it's so good.
I wonder too, like shows like that, they're great, and I only really needed to see it once to have the knowledge and the jokes in my head, and the amount of time that it takes to watch a show that long,
like the whole thing,
the whole shebang, multiple times. What could I have been doing with that time?
Oh yeah.
And that's one thing I noticed too, getting older, is you appreciate, I want to say, everything more. When you get free time, and it's so easy to get out your phone and scroll through Facebook or Instagram and just see what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
I try to, and I never do, but I try to produce as much as I take in.
Yes.
Or at least
as much as you consume. Yeah. That's, and I think not to come down on anybody who mostly consumes like media or something, but I mean I think that's what
it's made for.
Yeah.
So,
and I think like that's what makes like people like you and I, like, we're creators. We like to make stuff. We like to like, we see something like The Office, or we hear a really good song and we enjoy it, but we also get that sense of like, oh, I want to go make something. Like I want to do something like
what's
this.
that little twinge in your brain, that little inspiration.
Yeah. For me, I've always compared it, like, I'll go see a friend's band or I'll go see a band live, and 80% of me will be like, oh, this is such a good band. I love this. And then there's this 20% of me, and it's like slight
what do you do with
jealous-
that C chord?
Yeah.
If I did it this way.
Yeah. And also a slight jealousy, like, I want to do that. Like, why am I not up there right now? Like, and it's okay. It's not like I don't hate them or anything. I'm just more like, I want to go do this. It's a drive to go do the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
My wife does not enjoy going to see bands with me. Like local stuff, because she goes, you don't enjoy it. I'm like, yes, I do. I really do. But she goes, you just sit there and watch Fingers all night and like take it in. Like you're taking notes.
Yeah, like breaking it down and everything.
You're looking at the future, like, how am I going to do what they're doing right now?
Right. Yeah.
Rather than just being in the moment and enjoying that.
Right, which is, there's something to be said about that. I
think all musicians are that way.
Oh, absolutely.
It's difficult to thoroughly enjoy, relax
Yes.
and enjoy a music.
Yes. And I mean, I have those friends who go to shows a lot that don't play music. And part of me is like, how do you do that? Like, you don't play, but they just get into it and love just listening to it.
How do you not go home and buy a guitar?
Yeah, exactly. Or I see like, what pedal does that guy had? I got to go look at those pedals, and no, that's definitely me. I'll be like focusing really hard sometimes and not enjoying it, but that's fun too. Like that's fun for me too. So
music makes me think about even like the word infinity.
Yeah.
When you're learning songs, you're like, oh, everything's either C or D, or and then the more you get into it, the more you realize, well, there's a million chords.
Oh yeah.
And there's a million different ways to make those chords sound, you know,
and arrange them and everything. Yeah.
And it's just an infinite, just sounds.
Yeah.
I mean, you never hear the same sound twice.
Right.
I mean, you might be hearing the same song, the same exact recording of the same song.
Right.
But maybe the radio is just a little bit further away, or there's a cup on the counter that changes the way the sound hits.
Yeah. Or, it's like same chord progression recorded in a different room. You know, like there's so many different ways to change things up and just
or the
make
guitar
it
was just a hair out of tune on the G string.
Yeah.
You know?
And it changes. Like you might not realize it all the time, but like, that changes the way you hear things, and it's kind of interesting.
But I think that's why nostalgia is weird, because it's like a little tiny puzzle piece that, my dad always tells, and I think I've told this story on this podcast before, but when he was a senior in high school, he was driving down the road in whatever cool car he had, a Duster or something.
Yeah.
And BTO's You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet was brand new, just come out. And the very first time he heard that song, and he had his class ring on the shifter, and he was just tapping his hand on the shifter to the beat of that song. Now, I've heard the song a million times, and he didn't tell me this story until after I've heard it a million times.
Right,
I mean, it was a classic rock hit. But now every time I hear that song, I'm taken back to a memory my dad had.
Right.
Which I was not there for. I didn't even exist yet.
Yeah.
But I can picture my dad cruising down the road, hearing that song for the first time. And every time I hear it, it's weird that it's such a puzzle piece.
Yes.
And instantly, even like the first note of that song, your brain just snaps right
back to that.
To that moment that I didn't even have.
Right, yeah. And, I've had people say things like, I can't think of anything, for example, right now, but just, like random, like I've had, like, I guess for now, the example I can use is like people saying, oh, I was playing XYZ video game when I was like, in between college and getting a job, and I was kind of like, floating around trying to figure things out. And they're talking about a game I might not have played yet. And then, when I finally get around to playing that game, that's what I'll think about. I'm like, oh, that person said this thing, and I'll always relate those two, like you said, even though I wasn't there, you know, and it's just attached to it. And these weird attachments we have to music and art and everything. Especially music, though.
When I hear Hitching a Ride, Green Day, just right back to your room.
Yep.
Absolutely. Playing guitar.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember having because I had a carpeted bedroom, but they have drums on a carpet. Like that was like they floated a little. So we put down plywood and put the drums on it, which was insane, but it worked.
I think my sister and a girlfriend I had at the time come over and sat on the bed while we recorded some of it.
Yeah, okay, I remember that now.
Wow. Don't remember the girl's name.
I would love to hear those songs.
That's gonna be my mission
insane.
now.
It's gonna be insane.
I remember your dad coming into the room and saying, "Which one of you girls is chewing gum?"
Sounds like my dad.
Yep. And they had to spit their gum out. But they just had to sit there in the room while we recorded, you know.
Yeah, classic.
Doing the men thing, you know, and the women
boys are playing. Yeah. So true. That's so funny. He moved that studio, so they built a studio down. My uncle lived right next to my parents. My dad's twin brother, and they built a studio. Like they built a small 1-room studio, so everything's down there now. Because this was, what you're referring to is my bedroom was right next to a room that was my dad's studio where he had his drums and they recorded and everything.
A carven bass.
Carven
that
bass.
I used to use.
Yeah. Yep. That was a nice bass. I think he still plays that.
Really?
I think so. If it was one of the ones that was like the kit where you can buy the carving kit and build it.
That's what it was. Yep.
Yeah, I think he still
all
has
natural.
that.
Yep.
That's
in that picture of us playing.
Is
Faith.
it?
Yeah.
Who's the guy that we had sing that one time? He's a tall guy.
Man.
You remember him? He came.
Yeah.
Because it was me, you, and Pat.
Ben. I used to work with him at Kinney Drugs.
Okay, yeah,
Back when Kinney's was where it used to be.
At Kinney's, yeah.
Big, tall guy, super religious. I think his
part of a
dad
church.
was a preacher or something at the church in Lowellville that's now 3D Sports. It's a bar.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Ben.
Yeah.
I don't remember his last name, but I remember we used to go on lunch break at Kinney's, and we would each order a 20-piece chicken nugget.
Oh my God.
And pound that thing.
Just throw them down the hatch.
For lunch. You know what I mean?
And then wonder why you felt sick the rest of the day.
Yeah. But you know what? I was skinny as shit in high school.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
just how things were.
I eat a fraction of what I did back then and just think about food and I'm fat.
Was that when you had the Shadow too? Was that the car you had, the red one?
Yeah. With
the
American racing rims on it. On this piece of shit car. Yeah.
But that's the car. I feel like that's the car I remember for the longest. Because then you had another one after that. But I think that was like near the end of my senior year, so it was shortly before I left.
That was the Shadow because it had the chrome around the fenders.
Which one had the sunroof?
And it was all red.
Did it have the sunroof? I felt like you had a car that had a sunroof because I remember standing out of it when you were driving.
Yes.
Once.
Was that the Shadow? Yeah, that was the Shadow.
Was it? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. That's fun. That's fun.
Cat just loves us.
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole house here, Cat.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other stuff.
Not just this tiny little room.
There's another cat you can go mess with.
Yeah. Go mess with your mom. Come on.
Oh, that's funny.
The Cat Cast.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Pretty much.
Yeah, we used to go to the mall.
Is what there was to do, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
well, that's a 90s kids thing.
Oh,
I think.
yeah. It's
Let's
very
go to
true.
the mall. What are
Yeah.
we going to do there? I don't have any money.
Yeah,
Well,
we'll just walk around.
Steal from the candy store.
Yeah. Walk around and let's call up all our friends. And it's like 3 cars would go to the mall. And
Yeah.
we'd like mess with each other on the highway.
Who did we used to go to the mall with?
Oh, man.
Jeff Morchak.
Jeff Morchak, Wade Newman.
Yeah.
Jason Ostent sometimes. He would come along, I feel like.
We brought the blow-up doll to the mall one time.
Oh, did we do that?
Brought it to school, and they made me deflate it. Put
Yeah?
it in my locker. It wasn't like R-rated.
No.
It was in
just,
a bikini.
Yeah. It was just a
I
more
think
of like
my
a figure.
senior year, that thing was my best friend.
Yep.
Brought it to a basketball game.
Yep. I remember that.
Put my senior shirt on it and brought it to the basketball.
Oh, it's too good.
Yeah, our
Too
trips
good.
to the mall were a blast.
They were
Hot
epic.
Topic was a must.
That was like the pinnacle, like when it was like the coolest place to go.
It's a whole different place
Yeah,
now.
it's a lot different.
I dare say they sold out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
They still have cool stuff in there,
Yeah.
but that's 10% of the stuff they
Right.
have.
Yeah.
And I remember that was the first place you could go and get different hair dye.
Oh yeah.
So you can dye your hair green or
Yep.
blue. And
I also remember it was like I would go there and they would have like those sampler CDs and it was all these bands I'd never heard of
Yep.
that weren't on TV
like
or
the
on
Vans
TV.
Warped Tour CDs
Yeah.
were always by the...
Yep. And I'm like, who are all these bands? And I'm like, I gotta listen to this.
Yeah.
And this was a time of like right after Napster, right around Napster, maybe LimeWire and all those, you know. So like you had to like wait an hour to get an MP3 on crappy dial-up.
And then realize
Yeah.
it's just a crappy version anyway.
Yeah, or a misnamed one that somebody, Oh, this is so-and-so. Nope, that's not.
And I remember always our trips to Hot Topic. Whoever worked there, it didn't matter
Yeah.
who it worked there, was just the coolest person you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because we lived in rural upstate New
Yeah,
York
yeah.
in the 90s where stuff hadn't really hit here
Right,
yet. You could
right.
watch it on MTV.
Yeah. But like,
you know, but you didn't see people that actually looked like that
right.
in real
Oh,
life.
totally. There's a bit
Until
of a
you
delay.
went to Utica
Mm-hmm.
and we used to, both malls were open then.
Yeah, Watertown and Utica. We would
Well,
go.
no, both in Utica.
Oh, yeah.
Riverside
That's right.
and Sangertown.
Yep.
The big mall or the little mall?
Yep. We always were like, which one? I think we went to the Big Mall
Sangertown
or
had
something.
Hot Topic. So.
Yeah, that's where we typically ended up.
Yep.
That was fun. That was always fun.
Going down there to see, it was always either a hot chick,
Uh-huh.
all gothed up,
Yep.
or some just strange looking creature dude.
Yeah, yeah. And you're like, what's their deal?
I didn't know
Yeah.
you could pierce that on
Yeah.
your face.
Maybe I'll think about that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it was always the case. It was always fun too. I think we went. There was one time where we went with what was Brooks Bartlett's older sister, Noelle.
Noelle. Yep.
Yeah. Because I remember we were driving back and it was a snowstorm.
Yep.
And it was like, I'm like,
oh my God,
we're
yeah.
gonna go off the road.
Yeah, we're gonna die. And of course, you think you're 16. You're like,
Yeah,
I know
oh,
how
yeah,
to drive.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can drive in this.
Right. Yeah.
And at 36, I'm still scared to drive in the winter.
Yep. I'm like, I need my snow tires. I need to get my snow tires on.
Yeah. I still have mine on.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
I just got them off. I just got mine off.
Lewis County. You
That's
never
fair.
know.
That's
You
fair.
never know.
Wait until the end of June.
June, yep.
Yeah. Rochester, we wait till the end of May.
Yep. Boy, I haven't seen Noelle in years
Yeah, I
either.
haven't.
I've been friends with her since I think I was 4 years old.
Wow, really?
Yep.
Wow.
Because we went to the same church growing up, so I knew her, and we'd been we were friends in kindergarten on up.
I like to imagine her going to church because she was like the one kind
It
of.
didn't last long.
Yeah, I was gonna say like in at Southwood, she was like the one kind of somewhat goth girl, like really into Hole. I remember she introduced me to Hole, all that stuff, and I'm like, straight black hair. So that's an amusing image.
Yeah, there were very few of us that were that
alternative
goth. I guess.
Alternative, I guess, for the lack
goth
of
gets such a bad name now.
No,
it branched off into emo and all that.
Yeah,
but the original goth, I think, was our jam.
Yeah. There were not many of it. I remember I had an Akira shirt from the anime Akira, and on the back of it had a big pill capsule because that was like the thing in Akira. And I remember the teachers being like, "What is that shirt?" They're like, "Turn it inside out, mister." I'm like, "It's just it's from an anime." And they're like, "I don't care." What is an anime?
Turn the shirt inside out thing.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep.
But nowadays it's even worse.
Oh,
I mean,
that's nothing compared to it.
half the stuff we wore in high school would not be cool with now.
Yeah. It's funny.
I miss the jeans.
The jeans, the
Yeah.
Jinkos,
Yeah.
like the big ones.
Yeah.
They're coming back.
Yeah. They were fun until you rode a bike.
Yeah, or stepped in a puddle and the bottom of your jeans were wet for like 24 hours.
Yeah. And they were always frayed at the bottom because they were just, half an inch too long.
They're just picking up everything you walk through.
Yep. And the old suede Airwalk shoes.
Oh,
would
those
just
were
get
cool.
Soaked.
Those were cool.
Puddles were such a nightmare in the 90s.
Yeah. It's tough back then. It was a tough life we had back then.
You kids got it so good now.
Jeez. Yeah, it's funny. I found somebody tagged me in a post on Facebook of it was some like I think it was like mock trial. I did mock trial like 1 year.
Oh yeah.
And we got our photos taken on that staircase in the school.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 7 of us. And like I look at it and like everyone's smiling except for me. I'm like frowning and I'm like, was I that much of a grump back then? Like, did I hate everything? And I like thought about it. I'm like, I kind of did. I kind of like was so unnecessarily angry, like, screw basketball. And I'm like, I had no reason to hate that.
Jocks are jerks.
Yeah. I mean, granted, a couple of them
You're never
were,
going to make money doing that.
You're going to be a nobody. But it was like, granted, some of them were jerks, but I'm like, I just should have just chilled out and just like written more music.
Yeah. Yeah, I was I was popular in 6th grade before because where we went to school there used to be all the elementary schools.
Right, yeah.
There was Constableville, Port Leyden, and Glenfield.
Yeah.
You went to
I went to Glenfield. Yep.
Right.
So then when we came together, it was like meeting new people.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think was 7th grade maybe.
It was 7th grade for me, but we were the last 6th grade at elementary.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you just were put in together with all 3 of those schools and started over.
Yeah, in middle school, which is like the worst age to do that. Yeah.
And I had a bunch of friends in 6th grade. I ruled the school in Port Leyden, had good grades, and people liked me for it.
Yeah.
And then got to 7th grade and grew about 6 inches over the summer and got super skinny and discovered what zits were.
Oh, yeah.
And it just killed me.
Yeah.
I was done.
Same.
And it took me till senior year to feel comfortable in my skin again.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that show really helped us out.
See, I had all that except for the growing 6 inches.
Yeah.
Everything else that came with that except for the growing.
Someday it'll happen.
Someday. I'm still holding out
for that.
I'm still holding out. 45. Here we go. I'll make it up to 5'6".
Then it'll just look weird.
Yeah. It's like, who's that?
What's Slender Man doing here?
His suit doesn't fit.
He's got cool hair though.
No, I feel like it might have even been later for me, like maybe early mid-20s, where I was like, okay, I get who I am now. Like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I did college, the classic age, 18 to 21 or whatever. And I was okay at best when I went to college. Like a C student. But then, somewhere around 24, 25, things clicked, and like I kind of got like what it is to like work hard on something, and like I started to like teach myself how to do things, and around the same time like I started to build confidence, and I'm like, oh, like you can kind of fake it and people will believe it, and then you just are confident. You're like,
isn't that amazing when you realize that?
Yeah, you can
like,
just
if I'm confident, people will think I'm confident.
Yeah, and then it helps too, because like most often if you like are confident, you're gonna do something and finish it and like or do it right, or at least close to right.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is all it takes. Like, I wish I would have learned this in high school. Like, I would have been a much better time.
Isn't it amazing, the stuff, like, if you had a time machine, go back to high school, I would care about so much less shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
what does that person think about? Who cares?
Who cares? Yeah.
They're going to end up on meth anyway, so.
Very true, very true. Yeah, no, it's true, and yeah, I would have definitely done things different, but, it wasn't bad. Like, it was, I had a good time for what it was. A lot of fun times at lunch.
Yeah.
We were borderline assholes at lunch to each other.
Yeah. Well, we didn't like push it on the surrounding tables at all.
No. We kept it to ourselves, which was fun. Yeah, I
miss all those guys. It'd be fun to do a reunion with.
I would love that.
I'm trying to think. Mike Millard.
Wow, Mike Millard. Wait, who? I'm spacing on him.
He was in my grade.
Okay.
Johnny Markham.
I remember Johnny Markham.
Yep. Who probably goes by John now.
Fair. We all drop the Y eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still not Anthony, though.
That's fair. Not Andy or anything, though.
No,
that's Andrew, right? Yeah.
Nothing, yeah.
No, I remember...
There were no girls at that table.
No. Every now and then a girl would come visit.
Yeah.
But mostly I think because of Wade. I think Wade was the draw there.
Or maybe Noelle used to sit with us here and there.
Every now and then, yeah. But I mean, no girls, understandably so. Like with what we were doing.
Wade was our cool kid in the group.
Wade was definitely the cool kid. Yeah.
Oh, people like him. Let's surround this guy.
Yeah. He was the cool guy.
Steve Morgan.
Yeah.
Who just moved back to the area.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think he's been out west for a long time, and he's working at Johnny B's down in Floyd.
Okay.
Down near Rome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is that like
I think it's like a burger joint bar type of thing.
Awesome.
Yeah. I remember he cooked for years. So.
We went to Steve's older one, right? Who's the younger brother?
Yes. Todd,
right. Because him and my sister dated for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Steve and I went to see Finger 11 in Buffalo. Was it my senior year? Yeah, my senior year, because mind you, I had never been to a a dive bar venue at this time. I was, senior year in high school, and I was a huge Finger 11 fan at the time. Their second album had just come out.
Oh,
it was before they got really, really popular.
Yeah,
it was when they were still like super dark, giant spiked hair.
Yep.
So of course I was
like original Stained.
Yes. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I love these guys. And I had put in for this contest to win backstage passes, and I got them for the Buffalo show, which was at a place called Show Place Theater, which I would eventually go to play shows at when I was out that way. But I got 2 of them, and I told Steve Morgan, he's like, I will drive you if you buy my ticket. And I was like, done. So we drove out there, got backstage, which was awesome. We saw... It was Finger 11. We saw Drowning Pool. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Yep. Before he died.
What's funny is this was before Let the Bodies Hit the Floor had blown up. And so I didn't really know who Drowning Pool was. And I got my tickets in the mail And the stubs had already been taken off since I was a backstage pass person. So it had cut off part of Drowning Pool's name. It had cut off the L, so it said Drowning Poo, and that's who I thought the band was. I'm like, Steve, I don't know what the
guys are gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, this is band Drowning Poo. I don't know what the deal is with that. Like, it might be like a joke metal band or something. And they came out, and he had a snow shovel, and he started hitting the stage like for their first song, like just like hitting. It's so loud, and I'm like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
But yeah, they were pretty crazy.
I saw him at K-Rockathon.
Oh,
one of
we
the
went
early
to that.
years.
Yeah.
Oh,
we went together.
Yes.
Yeah, and we
was this the year
lit?
Yeah. Was it when Mike Monks set the branch on fire?
What? I don't remember this.
Mike Monks. Did you go with? I know we went a couple years.
I went 1 year.
This was. I think I was out of school and you were still in school. Maybe.
I think I was still
It
dating.
was lit.
I was dating Beth at the time. I think.
Okay.
I think so.
Oh, I think I might have been dating Amanda.
It was in Syracuse.
Yes.
Lit played. Cottonmouth Kings played.
Yep.
Who else?
Was that Cowboy Mouth?
I think so. Yeah. Cowboy Mouth was there. Who was the big
drummer
band
that
now?
sang?
Jimmy's Chicken Shack. Did they play?
Jimmy's Chicken Shack.
Did they play?
Yes.
Yeah. Because they eventually played the festival at Fredonia like a couple of years after that.
Oh, they were awesome. I remember I was so excited because I could see the guy from Jimmy's Chicken Shack, Jimmy, off to the side of the stage, and we were right up front the whole time.
Oh yeah.
And
He had those
I
big
waved
dreads.
to him, and he looked at me, and he just gave me a head nod.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the coolest
like,
thing in the world. Jimmy's Chicken Shack. And people are like, who?
You're just screaming it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they're like, they're not on the stage. You're like, Jimmy's Chicken Shack.
I think I was wearing a wife beater with flames on it.
Oh man. I mean, it's perfect for lit, right? That's the lit style, right?
And that was
You know?
cool back
Yeah.
then.
It was like the white
Crazy
beater.
Town? Was Crazy Town there?
Crazy Town.
You
Butterfly.
got a cat behind your head.
Come, my sugar, baby. That band, right?
Yep. Cottonmouth Kings. Yeah, the
Cottonmouth
drummer.
Kings.
The drummer had like an old school, like all I can think is like a Compton bicycle.
Yep.
For a
Built in
drum
this
set
kit,
that was just bouncing the whole time.
And I just remember, like the band. Oh, hello. The band or two before Cottonmouth Kings, there was this woman who was crowd surfing.
gonna get awkward here.
Like the band or two before Cottonmouth Kings, there was a woman crowd surfing, and I can just remember she had like a really tiny top on, and I was like, "Oh, honey, you're gonna get grabbed." But she also had these huge knee-high boots that had like steel plates on them, and I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute, she's gonna be like kicking people." And I'm like, I remember she started to come her way, and I was like pushing her away. I'm like, I don't want to get kicked.
Yeah.
But then during the Cottonmouth Kings set, she got up on stage and started smoking pot with them on stage,
Yeah.
and I was like 17, and I'm like, what world do I live in?
Yeah.
Like, it was this whole opening. I'm like, this is what life is like.
Yeah, I had never smoked pot at that
Same,
point, and
same, yeah.
was just because I think they started. This guy come out and brought these two gigantic pot plants.
Put
and
them on each side of the stage. Yep.
And there was just one dude. I don't think he even had a microphone. Just
No.
wandering around stage, drinking and smoking a
weed.
joint.
Yep.
They had a big bong on stage.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the hell
Yeah.
is this?
Yeah.
What did
Yeah.
we sign up?
They
we
can
paid
just do
for
this? Yeah. I'm like, they can do that?
They
What-
have the best job ever.
Where are the police?
They're not even that good.
Yeah. Wow, they could just smoke right on stage. And
Corporate
write-
Avenger.
Whoa,
Yeah,
there.
there's
What
a-
was their deal?
They had all the masks and the jumpsuits, like the red jumpsuits.
Were they kind of like a Slipknot?
Because it was two stages, right?
No,
No, that wasn't
it
the
was-
year of two stages.
Yeah, it was one
Okay.
stage. It was one stage. Yeah,
Maybe it wasn't them. But I remember you're not coming back in.
really trying to get in here.
That cat really wants on this
It
podcast.
really does. Yeah, it's like it's my time to shine.
Well, we're at an hour and 15 minutes. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
maybe we should cut it short anyway.
Yeah.
Let's definitely do this again.
Yeah, happily.
Next time you're up, then
Happily.
we'll continue our...
Yeah.
Or-
Our walk down memory. Yeah, because Corporate Avenger. There's a name I haven't heard, reminding me of so many things. This is awesome.
I got so many things I got to look up when we're
Yeah.
done here.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And,
fun.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of stuff to
Yeah.
catch up on.
Yeah.
We haven't seen each
Plenty
other
more.
in forever.
18
Social
years.
media just doesn't do it.
It's not enough.
It's
not enough.
nice, but it's not the same.
It's like crumbs. You get crumbs.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, what we covered in, an hour and something here is.
And you only get what people want you to see, too. They don't put nobody posts their bad shit on Facebook.
No.
Oh, man, I got arrested for meth last night.
Whoops.
What a night.
Got to put it on Instagram. Here's my story of me in the back of the cop car.
It's on my Instagram story.
Hashtag whoops.
It's me out partying at a bar. Oh, there he is in jail.
Yeah.
There's a selfie of a police officer.
Right, yeah. Oh, gosh.
On
Awesome.
That,
yeah, this
on
is good.
that note.
Yeah, on that note. On the meth note.
Yeah, this was good.
Yeah.
Plug your stuff.
Absolutely. So, everywhere on social media, BC likes you. I do a little Twitter thing, Instagram.
You're getting off of Facebook, aren't you?
I took the Facebook app off of my phone.
Okay.
And
time waster, or you just negative?
Yeah, both. And I mean, the tough thing too is, like, I do this community organization stuff, so I'm making a lot of Facebook events. I'm updating it. I'm posting them to Twitter, and I was worried that would be a problem. It's not. I can still handle it. I can still sit down at a computer and do that when I need to. Less time wasted. I don't sit down in front of the TV on my phone for 15 minutes longer. Rob Mostyn on Facebook. My video game is called A Small Robot Story. That's on Steam. It's on a website called itch.io, which is like a Bandcamp type thing for video games. $5 video game, pretty simple if you like something like Mega Man, Mario, something like that.
It looks so cool. And
Thanks,
somebody
man.
made you a plush.
Yeah. I commissioned a friend to make me a plush of the main robot character, and it was weird when that happened. That was like the first tangible thing I had from the video game, and I felt like
it's all digital.
I had a little like heartache about it. It was really nice.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that music is usually under BC Likes You. I'm doing a little thing called Weekly Beats right now. It's a website where you make a song every week. So I've been doing that for 8-9 weeks now. And that's a whole bunch of people do it. So I'm on that, making music if you want to hear things I'm writing every week. Out at RIT. If you're ever if anybody's out at RIT, stop by and talk video games and all that good stuff.
Awesome.
I think that's it.
And we'll put all the links on the website.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Tony and other people.x10host.com.
Yep.
It's not a very flashy website.
It works. Gets the job done.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. This is awesome.
Let's go play some Mario 3.
Sounds good.
Thanks for listening to Tony and Other People, a podcast. Questions, comments, concerns for Tony's overall well-being? Want to be part of the show? Find us on Facebook or email us at tonyandotherpeople@gmail.com.